Marc Chaikin a few days ago was interviewed by Daniela Cambone from Stansberry Research, and he made a forecast that the S&P would reach 5,000 by the end of this year, 2023. He uses his power gauge indicator, and he has been very successful. What's interesting here is that we could see in the cycles something very simple that confirms that, and also something in the cycles that deviates from what ordinarily would happen this year based upon the astrology. One is the cycle of 102 weeks, which is about a little less than 2 years, and it's a half of the 4-year election cycle. And if you look at this chart here back to 2009, each time when we're in the same phase, the same part of the cycle where we are right now, and at every single time when we're in this part of the cycle, this particular date in relationship to that cycle, the market rallied 15% over the next few months, 5 months, 6 months. 15%, of course, added to 4,400 gets you up to your 5,000 number. There is no doubt the probabilities were in favor of that, with or without any dramatic and super complicated technical indicators. What's also interesting, if you go back to the beginning of the S&P futures in 1997, it's happened 15 out of 17 times. Then I went back all the way back to 1920s in the Dow, and it was about 80% correct. However, I think probably Chaikin's not using data all the way back to 1900 to generate his formulas. If you do look further back than the most recent 40 years, you see that in 1929 there was an astrological configuration that happened, that Jupiter and Rahu were together in the sign of Aries. That happened again this June 1st. We've already shown repeatedly that the pattern in 1929 is quite highly correlated with what's happening so far this year and last year. And the 1987 pattern, which wasn't exactly the same thing, had Jupiter and Rahu about 2 degrees off of Aries, 28 degrees of Pisces. It was very close to the same configuration. You had a really strong 25% summer rally and then it collapsed. So, if you consider the bullish tendency that is generated historically based upon the 2-year and 4-year cycles, the election cycle, and you consider the 20 and 30-year cycles, which we've been talking about since the lows of last October, we started to get bullish before everybody else. The bottom line is the market has a strong momentum to go up, but this year you have this erratic, crazy potential for a dramatic decline starting September, latest October 5th, for a 2-month huge pullback. Call it a pullback, although it could be 25 or 30%. All right, so that's number one point. The second point is what happens after December in a normal cycle. What happens ultimately, you can see in this chart, we have 2 examples of what happened 2 years ago and what happened 6 times a little less than 2 years ago. You see that the market going forward basically is similar to the 1987 pattern, but you have a high in August, a low in late September, and then it goes up higher into the end of the year, into December. So it would squeeze the rally later in the year. However, after that high comes in at the end of the year, the market has a nasty break, even based on the 2-year cycle. January, February of 2024 could be really nasty. May not be as big as a crash, might be happening earlier, but it just delays the inevitable that you're going to have a really sharp shakeout coming. The normal cycle would go all the way up until the end of the year and do that. This year, I think we're going to have it happen earlier, collapse quicker, and be down in November. So it won't recover by the end of the year. We will not see the highest prices in December anymore. We'll see the highest prices in September. That's the distinction. We agree with Chaikin's viewpoint. However, this is not a normal year, and it's not likely to necessarily stay up until the end of the year this time because of some turbulence that's coming in September.